Good afternoon. This is Papa Bill, and I'm going to read a children's story called Davey Crockett. This is February the 22nd, 2018. And for the young people out there, Chase and others, I hope you like it. An extraordinary event once occurred in the land of Tennessee. A comet shot out of the sky like a ball of foxfire. But when the comet hit the top of the Tennessee mountain, a baby boy tumbled off and landed upright on his feet. His name was Davey Crockett. That's the same Davey who could carry thunder in his fist and fling lightning from his fingers. That's the same Davey who liked to holler, "I can slide down the slippery ends of rainbows. I'm half horse, half alligator, and a bit of a snapping turtle. I can outrun, outlick, and outholler any ring-tailed roarer east of the Mississippi." The truth is, Davy Crockett did seem to be half varmint, just as every varmint seemed to be half Davy Crockett. Anyone could see that he walked like an ox, ran like a fox, and swam like an eel. And he liked to tell folks, "When I was a baby, my cradle was the shell of a 600-pound turtle. When I was a boy, I ate so much bear meat and drank so much buffalo milk, I could whip my weight in wildcats," which was less amazing than you might think, because by the time Davy Crockett was 8 years old, he weighed 200 pounds with his shoes off, his feet clean, and his stomach empty. Davy Crockett loved to brag about the things he could lick, from wildcats to grizzly bears. Sometimes, though, his bragging got him into big trouble. Take the time he got caught in a thunderstorm in the middle of the forest, carrying nothing but a stick. After hiking some 10 miles in the rain, he was so hungry he could have wolfed down a hickory stump, roots and all. He began to search the black thicket for something good to eat. Just then, as he parted some trees with his stick, he saw two big eyes staring at him, lit up like a pair of red-hot coals. Thinking he'd come across a fun fight and a tasty feast combined, Davy neighed like a horse, and then hollered like a screech owl. "Hello there, I'm Davy Crockett, and I'm real hungry," which means bad news for any little warm-blooded, four-legged, squinty-eyed, yellow-bellied creature. Lightning suddenly hit the woods, and Davy got a good look at his dinner. "By thunder," he breathed. My hair went up on the back of his neck, and his eyes got big as dogwood blossoms. Staring back at him was the big eater of the forest, the biggest panther this side of the Mississippi River. He was just sitting there with a pile of bones and skulls all around him, like pumpkins in a pumpkin patch. Before Davy could beg the varmint's pardon, the panther spit out a sea of foam, and his teeth began to grind like 60-horsepower sawmill. "Oh, I didn't mean what I just said," Davy apologized, backing away slowly. But the panther shot white fire from his eyes and gave 3 or 4 sweeps of his tail as he advanced. "You think you can forgive me for making a little joke?" Davy begged. But the panther let out a growl about as loud as 500 boulders crashing down the mountainside. Want to sing a duet? Davy asked. But the panther just growled again and took another step closer. Guess I'm going to have to get serious, Davy said, trying to bluff his way out. The panther stepped forward. Davy crouched down. I'm getting serious now, he warned, but the panther just put his head real low, like he was about to leap. With disaster staring him in the face, Davy suddenly concentrated on grinding his own teeth until he sounded like 100 horsepower sawmill. Then he concentrated on growing his own growl until he sounded like 5,000 boulders tumbling down the mountainside. As he stepped toward the panther, they were both a grinding and a growling until a final growl and a final grate brought the two together. And there in the rainy forest, they began wrestling each other for death or for dinner. As he stepped toward the panther, the panther was just about to make a chopped meat sandwich out of Davy's head. Davy gave him an awkward blow under the jaw. He swung around like a monkey and throttled him by the neck. And he threw him over one shoulder and twirled him around by his tail. As Davy was turning the panther into bread dough, the big eater yowled for mercy. Okay, fine, Davy said, panting. I'm not about to skin such an amazing fellow as yourself. But I'm not about to leave you here to collect any more of those bones and skulls, neither. I guess you better come along with me and learn some manners. Here is a picture of that panther and Davy. So, Davy Crockett led the big eater of the forest back to his cabin, and there he taught him all sorts of civilization. Davy taught him how to fold his paws and sing the tenor of a church song, and how to rake leaves with his claws. Best of all, he taught him how to light the hearth fire at night with his burning eyes, and then led Davy to bed in the dark. From then on, you could say that the two were the best of companions. But Davy's boasting got him into trouble with more than just wild critters. It also ended very early his political career. It seems that one year he figured the Tennessee legislature was in sore need of a feller with a natural sense instead of book learning. And that feller is nobody but me, he bragged as he went on about the state, making campaign speeches. I can sleep under a blanket of snow, out squeeze a boa constrictor, and out with the slyest fox in the woods. I'm your man. In one of his speeches, Davy got so carried away, he boasted that he once grinned an old raccoon right out of the tree. And folks, I can grin any dang raccoon out of any dang tree in the whole dang world. If I can't, you can call me a liar and feed me to a bunch of hungry bears in the winter, he said. Well, Davy's opponent recognized that this was a big chance to prove once and for all that Davy Crockett was nothing but a big blowhard and a boaster. So one moony night in August, the feller got a crowd together, and as they all stood outside Davy's cabin, the varmint hollered, "Crockett, come out here. These folks want to see your raccoon trick." "Sure," Davy said, "be glad to show them," feeling pretty confident because he believed all his own boasts. Davy led the crowd through the woods until he spied a raccoon grinning high up in a hickory tree. "Jiminy criminy, here I go. Now watch me, folks," he said, and he set to grinning at the fellow, and he grinned, and he grinned, and he grinned. But after he had been grinning like a fool for a spell, that raccoon just kept sitting up there in the tree, grinning back down at him, not troubling or doing nothing. After a while, folks began to get restless, and Davy began to get mad. His whole reputation was on the line. He didn't relish being fed to a bunch of bears, neither. He got so mad that he finally stomped home and got an axe. Then he returned to the woods and commenced cutting down the tree. Well, when the tree fell and Davy grabbed the critter, he discovered the grinning raccoon was nothing but an old knothole that just looked like a raccoon. "But look at this," Davy said, beaming to the crowd. "The fact is, I done grinned the bark right off that tree." He was telling the truth. Around the knothole, the tree was perfectly smooth. "Go figure it out," grumbled his opponent. "Go figure it," grumbled his opponent as the crowd cheered. Another tale about Davy's bragging concerned one hot day on the banks of the Mississippi River. As old Davy was straggling along, feeling restless because he hadn't had a fight in 10 days, he came across a keel boat being pushed upriver. The fellow pushing it had hair as black as a crow's wing and wore a red flannel shirt. There was a man on the river that wouldn't have recognized Mike Fink, king of the Mississippi boatmen, big man. "Hello there," Davy shouted from the shore. "If you don't watch out, that boat's going to run back down the river. I'm about the only ring-tailed roarer in the world who can tame the Mississippi." Mike Fink gave Davy a mean look. "Oh, you don't know beans from buckshot, you old cock-a-doodle-doo," he said. "Oh, well, I don't care a Johnny cake for you either," said Davy. "Come ashore and let me whip you. I've been trying to get a fight going all morning." Then he flapped his hands near his hips and crowed like a rooster. Mike Fink, feeling chock full of fight himself, curved his neck and neighed like a horse. Davey Crockett thumped his chest and roared like a gorilla.